Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to It's a Bountiful Life's walk and talk. Today I've got my good friend Dennis Wixom here to talk about a bunch of things, and I want to introduce him in just a second. But the underlying theme, Dennis grew up in Blackfoot, Idaho, and the underlying theme I want to focus on today is kind of the work ethic he gained by growing up on a farm and how that impacted the rest of his life. He's an amazing guy, and he's got more energy than I do. And young and vivacious. He's run how many marathons?
75 or something.
75 marathons, and even to this day jogs about 6 or 7 miles a day. Or you're on a little hiatus from that? Okay.
I had an injury to my rib, so I'm taking a little 6 weeks and I'll be back.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about, and we're here at the it's called Bountiful Shoreline, Bonneville Shoreline Preserve. It's right next to Tunnel Springs Park in North Salt Lake, and I've been here before. This is about the 4th or 5th video I've done here, but this should be some interesting conversation. I was at his house for dinner. When was it?
Just last week.
Last week, and I just was fascinated by his stories, and there's so many life lessons in there, and I wanted to make sure that we preserve this for the younger generation, and even me. I'm just like embarrassed about my
we all have our own story, don't we?
Yeah. So let's just walk it as we talk. So, Dennis, if you can maybe start off.
I was born and raised?
Yeah, a little bit, but then get right into, we can talk maybe more about this. You know, one time I want to do a video on just potato farming alone. But today we won't touch on that.
That's all different. Yeah.
But maybe you start around when you're off your mission and came back, and after that, and talk maybe a little bit about your upbringing, but when it came to time to look for a career, how your upbringing impacted that going forward, and so I'll interject with questions here and there, but I'm mostly going to let you talk.
Alrighty, well, after I graduated from Brigham University in 1972.
Okay.
And so, with my degree, I was going to go set out and go out to the world and make my fame and fortune.
Okay.
At that time, there was very little job openings.
Right.
The market was the labor market was really slow.
Okay.
So I hired on to a J.R. Simplot soil builders in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, American Falls, Idaho.
Okay.
Anyhow, I was there for a year, and while I was there, you know, I made a wage, but I thought to myself, how do I get ahead fast? Because I had to wait for everybody to die who were my bosses, and they were all considerably young.
Yes.
So I was in a dilemma.
Not much room to move ahead.
No, so I'm thinking, I'm going to put in my 20 or 30 years before I can become the next level manager.
Oh.
I thought, I don't have that time to waste. And I thought, there's got to be something better. So I had an uncle who lived in California.
Right.
In Fremont, California. It's kind of in the Bay Area.
Right.
Near Oakland. Anyhow, I called him up and said, I want to come to California and get a job there. He said, sure. So I lived with him for a while.
Right.
And I went from employer to employer to employer.
Sorry. This is at what age after your mission?
Well, no, this is after BYU. I'm 24 years old.
Okay, and also I've gone on a mission, but finished college.
I think, yeah.
Okay, so this is really your first career step.
Yep. American Falls. I worked there for 1 year for J.R. Simplot. So anyhow, I thought, well, go west, young man. Go west.
Yes.
And I heard about California was a place where you could set out and make your own fortune. So I went to my uncle's house. I lived there for a while, and I would go around and interview with different employers.
Right.
Well, I would go in their office.
Right.
And there'd be a stack of resumes.
Oh boy.
And they'd say, yeah, put your resume right over there. We'll get back to you.
Yes.
So what do you do? And so I went around. So I went to an employment agency, and I told them what I wanted to do. I want a job where I can I can work many hours because on a farm, as a boy growing up,
Uh-huh.
we would work from, well, there's no set hours.
Right. Okay.
The sun would come up, you go to work.
Right.
Milking the cows, feeding the cows, all the animals, the livestock.
From what age? What age would you say?
From my whole age. I don't know from
You don't remember
childhood.
not?
I don't remember not helping on the farm.
Oh boy.
Maybe, anyhow. So I was used to long hours.
Right.
I wasn't used to the 8 to 5 like everybody else.
Right. Right.
So working long hours was just nothing to me. I didn't know anything. No concept of go to work 8, come home at 5.
Right.
Don't work Saturdays, Sundays. You know, take 2 weeks off vacation. We never had that.
Right.
And as a typical farm boy,
PTO, paid time off. No such thing,
very
right?
few- I never traveled outside of Idaho, only to go to Salt Lake City a couple of times. So
Right.
I never. Our vacations were up in the mountains for a day here or there,
Oh.
or we would go to,
For a minute, I thought we hadn't turned on the airplane.
or we would go to
Good.
like Lava Hot Springs for an evening or for a swim. And that's it. That was our vacation.
Right.
Other than that, we would stop in the middle of the day, go swim in a canal,
Right.
or ride our horses. We'd go out on the weekends, out the lava beds, spend a couple of nights.
And this is just as young with young boys
Oh
only.
yeah, we're like 12 years old. 13
No
years
adult supervision.
old. No supervision.
And are you off your property or?
Yeah, we're off our property. We're out in there's a place near Blackfoot, it's called the Lava Beds, and it's
Right.
just no man's land really.
Uh-huh.
So you we'd go out there on our horses and spend a couple of days, shoot jackrabbits. Anyhow, that was our fun.
Sleeping bag, no sleeping bag.
Yeah, we have a sleeping bag. We sleep on the ground.
Tent?
No tents.
No tents.
No.
Oh wow, just
We'd
on the
find
grass.
if it rained, we'd find a little cave to be in.
Right.
Out of the weather, if it rained.
Oh my
But
heavens.
in Idaho, it didn't rain that often in the summertime, so
Right.
not an issue. So as a boy growing up, we worked, 18-hour days, and in between those hours, we would have fun. We'd swim, ride our horses, do different things.
Right.
So I wasn't accustomed to this 8 to 5 thing.
Right.
So it frustrated me when I was working for J.R. Simplot. I'd go home at night, I'm going, now what do I do with myself? And I was bored, and I wanted to work, but yet they would cut you off. You could only work like 8 or 9 hours.
Right.
And so I wanted a job where I could work as much as I wanted to,
Control your income.
control my income. I didn't want it based on my age, based on how long I've been with the company. I wanted to be able to.
Right.
So after being frustrated, I went to a job employment center,
Right.
and they said, well, tell us what you want to do. And so I explained my perfect job. They're going, you want sales? I'm going, oh, no sales for me, kiddo. My dad would shoot me if I come home and said I'm an insurance agent or something.
Uh-huh.
They would just die.
Why do you think that would be?
It's just
His image
salesman.
of-
It's the image of a salesperson. They're just pushy and they're.
Ah.
So we didn't really like salespeople when I was a boy growing up.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh, not sales for me. I can't do that. I kept looking. Never could I find a job that I wanted.
Right.
He kept saying to me, it's sales. And so I finally said, okay, who can I talk to? So they pointed me to Prudential Insurance.
Okay.
So I went and interviewed with Prudential Insurance. Of course, they hired me on the spot.
Right.
I was a warm body and I could walk and talk and chew gum. So that was fine. Well, so I thought to myself, I'll work for Prudential while I'm
Right.
looking for another job. Because I could never see myself being a salesperson.
Right.
In fact, I never told anyone what I did for a
Oh.
living. They said, what do you do? Oh, I'm,
What? Were you embarrassed about it?
oh yeah, I was so embarrassed to be an insurance agent. And so I never told my parents what I did. I just said,
Right.
I'm working in California.
He's gone rogue.
yeah. And so then I went to work. Well, I'd get up at 9 o'clock in the morning. About 7 in the morning, I'd go to work at 9.
Right.
I'd work till 10 o'clock at night,
Right.
either trying to sell insurance. Well, to
And,
make a long story short,
how would you say your sales technique was? It's not high pressure. It was just low pressure.
yeah, I was a very low pressure. I just said, you want to buy some life insurance? They'd say no. I'd say okay. But the numbers, all in the numbers game.
Uh huh.
So if I talk to 100 people,
Right.
Well, the numbers say I would sell 1 or 2 policies. And so I had time.
Did they give you this in training? They gave you
Yeah.
this kind of a spiel that you just need to get in front of people?
They would give me a numbers. That's okay. If you make so many contacts, you'll get so many appointments, you'll get so many sales.
Right.
And so I thought, well, that's easy math for me. I'm a farm boy. I can understand that.
Oh, wow.
So anyhow, I just get up and go to work. Well, all the other agents in the office, they were more than 8 to 5. They'd go to work and sit around, and I would just
sit
go
in the office. Sit in the office.
Yeah, and so I just go
Pretend to work.
Yeah, they pretend to work, and so I would just go out and start knocking on doors and talk to people.
Right.
Well, that work ethic from my farm boy growing up,
Right.
I could work from 9 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and that was okay with me. Well, so when they had quit at 5 o'clock or 6, I'd still be working. Well, my numbers, in pure numbers,
Right.
I rose from the very, very bottom. In 3 months, I was like number 4 in the office out of like 30 agents.
Oh, wow.
Well, I had no clue if I was doing okay or whatever.
Right.
But then, as my income started going up, I kept looking for another job. Well,
Because what was at that time you were doing good, but you didn't know you were doing good.
no,
And what
In
was your
19
idea of the job though? Did you say
no, I still wanted out of insurance. I didn't want to be a salesperson.
right?
I did not want to do that.
Did you have an image of what you wanted to be?
No, I just wanted what the job. I wanted a job where I could excel at my own pace, earn as much as I wanted to earn, and no restrictions.
Sounds like an insurance job.
That's what it sounded. Yeah. So then I was working with Prudential. Well, so as my income went up, I did get some offers from job employers I talked to,
Right.
but they all want to pay me way less than I was making. I'm going, well, I can't. Why would I do that?
Right. Right.
I didn't dislike the insurance that much to take
Right.
a pay cut, and
Just
so
a little bit embarrassed about it.
yeah.
Uh huh.
Well, so the end of the first year, this is 1974, I made about $20-some thousand.
Oh my
Well,
heavens.
back then, that was a lot of money because the average income was like maybe $6,000.
Just as a side note, me and my daughter watched a lot of Columbo episodes from the 70s.
Yeah.
And he talks about how low he was paid as a police officer,
Yeah.
and he's living in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
I think his salary, he said, was $11,000,
Yeah.
and he was always complaining about how little he got paid. But that was a respectable job.
Yes.
At $11,000, and
Yeah.
you were how old?
Well, I was about 24 back then, I guess.
Making double that.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been like what making today in terms of
I
times
know.
10, roughly
Yeah, probably.
$200,000.
In comparison, yeah,
Yeah.
because gas back then was like, 20 cents a gallon or
Right.
30, and bread was like, 30 cents.
Oh wow!
So anyhow, then I got married,
Right.
and I thought, well, I better keep doing this, and so I was with Prudential for 10 years, and then I changed.
Before you get off Prudential, didn't you say something about convention and
Oh, yeah.
talking to convention? And how far into it? You were at 4
Well, I
months.
was-
You were number 4 in the office.
Yeah.
So,
the
tell
ne-
me
so
the
the-
backstory.
So the next year, I'm starting off, and I was always like number 1 in the office for the very first of the next year.
Right.
Well, I didn't know how well I was doing. I just would go work,
Right.
and so I
Who
won this-
knew?
Yeah, who knew? And so
work,
then
work matters.
yeah, so then I ended up becoming like the number 1 agent, rookie agent,
Right.
new agent for Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada. I think those 4 states. And they had a convention, so they invited me to come speak at the convention and tell everyone how I did it.
Oh my heavens.
Well, hell,
So you were not the keynote speaker necessarily,
I'm
but just a
yeah.
speaker among many,
Yeah.
star employees, star
yeah.
young guy. You're-
Apparently my numbers were high enough that I stood out.
Right.
So they're asking me how I did it, and I explained to them I'd just get up in the morning, go to work at 9, I'd work all day long, come home at 10 o'clock. I did that 6 days a week.
Oh.
And so I said, and they're all just in shock. They're going, no, tell us the real story. Well, that's what I did. As a farm boy, I learned that you don't count your day by hours. You just get up in the morning, go to work, and at night at 10 o'clock you go to bed and you get back up 6 days a week.
And you do it again.
Yeah.
And did they ask you how many people how many contacts you were having each day? And
Yeah, I still have a record actually. I have books. I show my kids every now and again 'cause I'm still in insurance. And so when I hired my sons to work for me, I explained to them how to be successful in sales.
Right.
So I show them my books, and they're in disbelief. They go, "Dad, you didn't talk to 1,000 people a week." I go, "Well, here's the numbers right here."
Oh, wow.
And I showed them what I made, and then I had
Just
made
a quick interjection here.
Yeah.
You remind me of a modern day Zig Ziglar. I don't
Well,
know if you, yeah.
I went to those, a lot of those workshops and seminars and how to get rich and all those sorts of things. But all boiled down to just pure numbers.
Right.
The more people you talk to, the more, and some agents would go, "Well, no one wants to buy life insurance." I'm going, I don't go by the yeses, I go by the no's.
Right.
If
What
I
do you mean?
know, I don't mind it getting a no, because I know after so many no's, I get a yes.
Right.
So if I go through 9 no's in a row,
Right.
the next one's a yes.
Just by the numbers.
By the numbers. And so when someone say they didn't want to buy life insurance, I'm going, I don't care. It's just a number to
Oops.
me.
I'm sorry, I'm
Just a
tripping.
number. Because I knew the numbers would pan out. They
Right.
would. So if I talked to 100 people a day, I would get so many appointments, and then I'd make so many sales. And just kept it simple, stupid.
Right, right. Quick question. You had mentioned the other night about kind of the life insurance was the thing that people wanted to go for, and the casualty insurance or whatever,
Oh,
car
yeah.
insurance is kind of thought that was second class. And so
Oh yeah.
are you saying that the other agents were not trying to push car insurance, or
No,
you were willing to sell
with
them anything?
Prudential, we could sell car and home and also life. But I was trained to be a professional estate planner, talking about pensions and profit sharing and large group cases.
Right.
That's where the big money is. It's not in selling a car insurance and make $15.
Right.
And so back then, I'd go to underwriting classes, how to sell more insurance. Well, in that, there'd be mixed agents, like casualty agents, all life, pure life agents.
Right.
And so we were taught, these guys, they don't mingle with them. They can't, they're not a professional agent. 'Cause I had my 3-piece suits, I had my
Yes.
autograph
Shirts.
and I was and these guys, they just come in here, just a casual dress, and they wouldn't, because these were life classes we were in, so they wouldn't say much. But so I moved to Utah
Right.
after a few years in California.
And with Prudential.
Yeah.
And so did that change your client base, or do you still maintain the clients you had in California? But
No, I was a manager, so I had like 7 agents who
Okay.
I managed.
But how about all the people that you signed up in those years? Did they go to someone else, or do you?
Yes, because I was a manager
Uh-huh.
they promoted me in California to a manager after like a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And so then I spent most of my time in management. But so here I'm in Utah, and I have young kids growing up.
Right.
Well, to sell life insurance, you have to. Back then, there was no. It's all in the homes, so I
Right.
have to work every night. Well, I got tired of being gone every night.
Right.
I'd still work my 9 to 10, but I had no family life. So I said, I've got to either leave insurance or do something different.
Right.
So then I was a member of the life underwriting group here in Ogden, Utah, and they were mixed with life agents and casualty agents, State Farm,
Right.
Farmers, Prudential. So I was thinking, what do I do? Do I leave this insurance? So
Right.
I thought, well, I'll give it one shot. I don't know anything about the casualty world, so I'm going to check that out before I actually leave insurance completely.
Car and home and casualties. Just put
Mostly
car and home, right?
car, home, boat, motorcycles,
Right.
only casualty products.
Okay.
Anyhow, so I contacted one of the guys I knew in the Underwriters Association. Said,
Right.
can I come to your office and visit you? He said, sure. Well, Now this is going to be, people are going to wonder, we're paying these guys too much money.
Right.
But so I went to the office, I could never find him.
Right.
Well, where's he at? So I went to another agent's office, couldn't find him. He's out on appointments. I'm going, what the heck?
Does that mean out on the golf course? Is that code for
somewhere, but he wasn't in the office, neither one of them. So finally one day I caught him in the office. And then I said, oh, you're a hard man to reach. He said, well, I'm working. I'm going, tell me about your income. Tell me about what you do. You know, so he explained his situation where his main thing is they work really hard for very little, but once they build a book of business,
right,
lots of clients, then they pay their premium, then he gets a renewal commission.
A renewal commission.
So that's the magic word.
The magic word.
In life insurance, it's a sell and you're done.
Right.
Every day you got to get a new sell.
Ah.
And casualty, the deal is you start out slow. Once you build a large book, then that takes care of you. You take care of your clients, they take care of you. It's a perfect world.
So how come this was news to you after these videos?
It was brand new to me. I'm going, wow, this renewal thing sounds cool.
Let's go out here just a little bit and
so
just
then,
take a breather
and
look out over there.
So he told me about his income, and it was way more than I made as a life insurance agent, and I don't have to work nights.
Right.
So I went over to Allstate. I've been with Allstate since 1984 till today. I still have a business, an Allstate agency in Salt Lake here. I should be retired, but the renewal thing is still pretty cool. So I work part-time.
But still making the money off those renewals.
Yeah, the renewals. And so we take care of our people. I have people that takes care of them. And Allstate sent me on a lot of trips, paid vacations, paid everything. And so it's been a really good life. But way back when I described what I wanted to do I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, other than I wanted to make as much money as I wanted to make it, work my own hours, and I could be my own boss, basically.
Control your destiny.
My destiny, yeah. So little did I know, I started out in insurance, and over the years, I've realized that I really did get my dream, and it's been good to me.
And let's turn around, show the background while we talk.
So and I think every profession, you could be a singer, you could be, I know a friend of mine whose daughter does ballet.
Right.
Well, she spends like 10 hours a day in ballet, and she's like just 5 years old. And anyhow, she now performs on the national stage, making really good money.
At what age?
She's now about 26, in that range.
Right.
She's in Denver. And so she spent, like I did, she put in the time, the work, and then it paid off for her. And it doesn't matter what you do in life.
Right.
You could, any profession, professional, whatever, or people who start their own businesses go through the same things I did. You've got to be willing to put in the time and work hard, and then take care of yourself and take care of those your clients, your customers. And if you do that, use the golden rule, that's really the thing. The success is based on the golden rule.
Right.
If you're a business owner, if you own a small business, you treat your people right, you give them a fair product for a fair price, and you treat them good, and your employees. That's all you got to do.
Just a side note, along those lines, my son-in-law was raised by a single dad, and he was in food sales, and he gave him a nugget of wisdom. And I've talked about this on another video, but it was worth more than my MBA in 1 minute. And the simple phrase is Dad's secret to success.
Mm-hmm.
Call your clients every once in a while, and when they call you, call them back. That was it. It boiled down. In other words, taking care of your clients and being there for them. It was like a nugget of wisdom.
There was a saying we had in insurance. I don't know if it was Zig Ziglar who said it, but one of those conferences, they said the key to success is do what failures won't do. Do whatever a failure won't do.
Well,
Failures won't work 15 hours a day. People who fail won't go through the hard times. People
Right.
who fail give up too soon on their
Right.
dream. So all you have to do is refuse to do what failures do, and you
Ah.
do the opposite. So, and I remember back when I was in management, I would hire new agents, many new agents,
Right.
and so I try to get inside their brain
All right.
if they had that thinking that they're willing to do what failures won't do.
Right.
And I hired some agents who failed. They wouldn't do what it takes. And whether you be a ballet dancer, whether you be a star, a movie screen star, everyone has their stories about the rough times, but they stuck with it and they just kept their dream alive by pursuing it. And whether you own your own business when you start out, everyone has their own story.
Oh man.
And so mine's just one of the many thousands or millions of stories, and they're all similar in so many ways.
But I look at my own upbringing and my own youth, and I had a happy childhood and everything. But I mean, these experiences I just cannot begin to. And I'm hoping maybe I can learn them some as an adult. Maybe apply them to this YouTube channel. I made a tongue-in-cheek video the other day. It was called "The Secret of YouTube Failure," because I've been doing this for about 10 or 12 years, and I can't even get to 1,000 subscribers, and I kind of make a tongue-in-cheek video. I say to everybody, just do what I do. I'm all over, my videos are all over the place, but I've been thinking, I mean, about the farm and the lessons of the farm, and I don't think it's too late for me to start applying those. I mean.
Oh no.
Or at least teach them to my children. Or try to teach them.
It's only too late when you decide it's too late.
Yeah.
If you decide it's too late, well, time's passed me by. Then yeah, it's too late.
Yeah.
But it's all in your mindset.
Yeah.
I think, gosh, anyone can be successful at any age. I think a key too, in what you're looking for,
Yeah.
is find a niche,
Right.
a unique niche, something that's unique and different. You don't want to do what everyone else is doing.
Right. Right.
Find something that's unique, because people will gravitate to something that's unique and different. So if you find something that's
why I've been kind of throwing videos out there of everything throwing a bunch of things at the wall to find something that will stick or pique somebody's interest. And so far there's been a couple of big hitters, but they're about things that I'm really not that interested in. I don't have too much a way to repeat them, like home improvement projects, or I did a video on the Maui fire, and I had an opinion on my theory of what happened there, and I got like boom right out of the chute, I got like 4,000 hits. I thought, oh wow. So anyways, with me it's just like, okay, what's something I can sustain, and I mean it's therapeutic just for me just to make these, so there's some benefit on that, and I'm not making a dime on them, but so it's kind of a hobby in that sense. But I'm thinking, wow, could this be a business? I mean,
yeah.
Could this be turned into something that could make some money? I don't know.
In today's world, there's so many troubles and problems, and so many people with their own issues.
Yes.
They're looking for faith. They're looking for something that'll give them hope.
Yes.
And so, if it were me making videos, I would find people who are doing that. Maybe we're veterans coming back from the war, they've lost a couple of legs, they've lost an arm, they've had serious burns, but they don't give up.
Right.
And many motivational speakers nowadays are people who have went through that. So maybe, and people are always interested in somebody who made it, somebody who, against all odds, they found a way to be successful. So maybe find people you could interview that are living in a difficult. I'm not in a difficult hardship. My wife's went through leukemia, where she was given.
His wife's a beautiful girl who's one of my wife's best friends, and it was. I won't go into that right now, but.
Well, she was given. She was told she was going to die. She had like a 2% chance of surviving, even with a transplant, a stem cell transplant. And it's been 4 years, and she's made it, but she's been through pretty much hell. But those are the stories that would be, I think people love to hear, that motivates them, people who are successful. in spite of all odds.
Yes.
You shouldn't be successful if you've lost both your legs in Vietnam or even in Afghanistan. How did you shouldn't be successful if you've lost your sight.
Right.
You should have a self-pity party and just let the whole, tell the whole world how bad it is. But the people who have fortitude and will get a dream and not let anything stop them, it's just time, effort, and don't give up. And I would interview people like that who have stories they're living right now. I don't have that. Mine's kind of the past. Nothing like losing my legs or arms or limbs or anything like that.
Right.
But there are people like that, I think, that you could find that people would be interested in that sort of thing.
Right. Let's take a quick break and just kind of show the scenery up here. I'd hate to let this go to waste. So here we are. Let's see. We're at the point a little bit. I came here the other day and didn't walk out this far. Let's see if you can get Salt Lake in the background. I'm not sure if I'm seeing the film or the reflection on my camera, but and then behind us a very lovely cement plant, and you can see out there at the Great Salt Lake. I can't see much of my camera. The Great Salt Lake, and just let you take a view of this. Again, this is the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, which is right next to Tunnel Springs Park in North Salt Lake. And I hope this traffic noise isn't too annoying, but anyways, just to let you know a little bit of our surroundings. Okay, so we're at the 31-minute mark now. We can go maybe to about an hour. If I may ask you some other questions, switch gears a little bit. Let's see, let me get on this side of you. And let's go back on that. Do you want to go, where would you like to go first?
Wherever you like.
Maybe.
We can walk up, we can keep going up here if you want to, or we can walk. You decide, you're the producer.
I'm the producer. Okay. I'll tell you what, I don't want to get too far away. Why don't we try these foothills up here?
Okay.
Well, I mean a little bit. So, I mentioned earlier about your marathons, and you said 75 marathons?
Yeah, I've lost count, but between 70 and 75, in that range somewhere.
I mean, that spells fortitude to me. What keeps
you
going?
Of shoes.
What keeps you going?
Well, it started off, I ran some in high school and a little bit in college, and then I had children. I wasn't very active. I started gaining weight like most of us do, and I got up about 170, 80 pounds, and my pants weren't fitting right.
Right.
And I was just feeling awful, and so I started thinking, maybe I'll go out and walk or jog or something.
Right.
Well, my knees were so bad that I couldn't really actually run more than about 100 yards before my knees were so bad that I couldn't
Hold
continue.
on, let me get on this side of it.
So then
not quite right.
So I would just start walking. I'd walk and run, and about 50-50, I'd walk, run, and I could only do maybe a mile before I was just so stiff and sore. I'd run a few 5Ks with my kids and family, but it still was pretty hard. My knees were just so bad.
Right.
And when I was a boy growing up, I'd watch the Olympics and see they run the marathon, and I always thought, one day I want to run a marathon.
I mean, that's strange because there's nothing I hated. Oh, are you all right?
Yeah.
There's nothing long distance running was the worst thing for me. I hated in junior high when we do the cross country, which is, I don't know, maybe a mile. There was nothing more agonizing and boring, and I was just not good at it. I just, but to be that young and to think, I want to do that, that's amazing to me.
Well, time we kept going on, and I was, of course, raising children. I was working, like I said, 6 days a week, and then my church callings took the rest of the time, a few hours that I had. And I thought, I just gotta get this fat off me. So I started, and then anyhow, I started running, walking, and then I thought, I'm gonna do a marathon. and I picked the St. George Marathon.
Right.
This is
Your first marathon?
yeah, so 55.
Let's see.
What's that, about 20 years ago, 19 years ago? And so I decided to run the marathon. I wouldn't tell anyone,
Right.
and so I'd run at night when it was just so no one could see me. I was too embarrassed.
Embarrassed because of why?
Well, I'm 55 years old. I'm out trying to run.
You ran your first marathon at 55?
Yeah.
Oh my heavens.
And so I thought, oh, this is embarrassing. So I did it at night, and no one could see me. I gradually built up some miles. I thought, okay, maybe this will work. So I thought if I sign up for the marathon and don't tell anybody, if I don't finish it, no one will know.
Right, right.
If I do really bad, no one will know. It's just me.
Right.
But if I can just finish, then I get my medal. It's on my bucket list. Over, I'm done with. So then I went to St. George, and I can't remember what year that is now. 19 years ago. Anyhow, I started the race out, and it was so bad.
Right.
It was, I got blisters everywhere. I was walking a lot of it. My time was just horrible. It was like, I don't know, maybe like 5 hours or something. And I thought, never. And when I finished, I couldn't. Well, people who run a marathon can tell you how you feel after the marathon. But my first one was so bad. So then I couldn't walk. I was just, I thought, that's it, I'm done.
Right.
I am done, no more marathons. And because my knees, like I said, my knees were so bad, and it's painful to run on bad knees. Well, so that was it, I'm done. So that was like in October that year. And then the Ogden Marathon, it was I think next April or May, I can't remember which.
Right.
Anyhow, so I was running during the winter, and I started feeling a little bit better.
Right.
So I bought all these knee braces, all these things to help me with my knees, thinking I needed some kind of brace to. So then I'd run with these knee braces on, trying to, so it wouldn't be so painful. Well, I started running, and I kind of enjoyed it. So I thought, okay, I'll sign up for the Ogden just to see what I can do. Again, I didn't tell anyone.
And what about it did you enjoy? I mean, for me, I just there's no enjoyment there. You got a phone call?
I've always loved running as a boy. I'd at the farm when I was growing up.
Like a gazelle?
We have like our blocks are like a mile block, so it'd be like 4 miles to make the full circle. I'd run at night, run 4 miles without any problem. So as a boy, I loved running.
Oh my!
I enjoyed it. And so I've always loved running because it's an individual sport where you don't have to.
Just depends on you.
Yeah, just go out and do it. Here again, it's
kind of like insurance.
Exactly. That's why I wrestled in high school, and I like that because it's individual sport.
Right.
Where it's all up to you. Nobody could tell you. Nobody could say, "Oh, my son's going to start over you" or whatever. It's just if you could beat their son, you started. And so it was, it's an individual thing.
Right.
So then I went for the Ogden Marathon, thinking, "Oh, this is whatever." So then I'd run the Ogden Marathon, and I shocked myself.
Right.
At the time, it was like a 4-hour marathon, which is not huge or not really fast, but it's decent. I thought, oh wow, maybe I can do this.
Okay.
So that was my second one. Then I found a friend in my neighborhood who also ran marathons, and I didn't know he ran marathons. We happened to pass each other on the road one day running opposite directions, and we stopped and, "What are you running? What are you getting ready for? A marathon?" "Well, me too."
Oh wow.
So then
marathon buddies.
Yeah, so we started hooking up. So then you get to the point where you sign up for the Ogden, the top of Utah, the Logan. So we start all these races. Back then, it was only like about 4 races in Utah, 5 marathons. And so you get to where you just, okay, I'm gonna sign up for this. And then half marathons, we start running half marathons. So, and then about 2 or 3 years after that, I was running another marathon. And at the starting, I forgot to put my knee braces on, all my wraps on.
Oh my heavens!
And so I just got confused. I just jumped and ran, and I'm about 50 miles into this race. I'm going, there's something different about this race. Something is just
15 miles into it, you noticed?
Yeah. I'm thinking, what is?
And still hadn't realized what you forgot.
I'm going, what's different? I'm going, oh my gosh, I forgot my braces, and I started panicking, thinking, oh my gosh,
I'm going to be
mile
hurting.
15. Yeah, I've got 11 more to go, and there's just no way I'm going to make it. But then I found out all that running,
Right.
my knees now are the best they've ever been.
Oh my heavens.
And so now I can run, well, there's no problem with the knees. And so in my case, the knees actually got better through running.
Oh my heavens. That is a interesting story. It's like the, well, like with so many things related to health, that anyways, go ahead.
Well, there's people at all different levels in marathons.
Right.
Some run one and stop. I think it's just a bad experience. But I've met people on the race, you go, how many, if you ran, one guy's, I ran 500, I'm going, you run 500 marathons?
Right.
So there's people out there, even, little.
My friend from high school, her dad was kind of that way too. They always go as a family and run these marathons or half marathons. I don't know what they're doing, but it's like, wow.
Yeah. So mine's 70, 75, says 55. The most I ever did, I did 7 marathons, a couple of half marathons in like a 3-month period.
Oh man.
At one time, that was the most
Let me
congested they got.
tell you a quick story to this is the closest thing I can approximate to that. Before my stroke, this is before my stroke, I took an early retirement for Delta, and then I started working part-time for the church at home for the call center, taking calls at home. And it was just not, it was only a part-time job, so it was not making me enough money, so I said, I gotta do something else in the day. I took a job as a mail carrier in Ogden.
Oh yeah.
Oh my heavens.
That's a long drive.
And it was during the holiday,
Idaho.
yes, but it was my farm experience.
Yeah.
It's like get up early and oh my heavens, it's so stressful. That is a tougher job than you realize.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
But early into the job, it was the winter months, but I think I got the opportunity to order some male shorts because I was planning on losing weight by doing this job,
Yeah.
running from house to house,
Yeah.
and that was essentially what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought these male shorts
Mm-hmm.
that I was never able to get into,
Yeah.
and guess what I'm wearing today?
Your male shorts?
Male shorts.
Yeah, there you are.
I barely
Well,
got
you're-
into them,
Well, you're looking really good.
and
People
that
the
is
viewers
the,
don't know, but you're.
this is the result of my adversity, my stroke. I don't like to dwell on that, and Osco
Yeah.
doesn't like me to dwell on that, but like you say, adversity is sometimes our best teacher, our best healer, our best whatever.
Yeah.
With my newfound diet and my commitment to walking and exercise and playing as much tennis and things as possible, I hope to live 10 years longer than I would otherwise.
Yeah.
So in a very direct sense, it's been a blessing, and I wouldn't wish it
Yeah.
on anyone. I wouldn't wish you a stroke or
No.
anyone else a stroke,
No.
but darn it, it's a blessing. It's just like in the Beatitudes and it didn't dawn on me what this meant until I gave a talk in church like a couple of months ago. That the Beatitudes are these 8 blessings. Actually, 4 of them are kind of curses, right? 4 are clearly blessings. 4, but Christ's message is be thankful for. It's all a blessing, or it all can be turned towards a blessing. And I'm just now at 62 starting to realize that. And so even if you are, say you're not a young person like me anymore, I can still learn from Dennis's farm experience and apply it to my life and try to overcome my current challenges.
Well, you still have 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
to
we
work
all
with.
have the same amount of time.
So it's not like somebody's going to say, well, now you're older, you can't go out and work or whatever.
Right. Or a certain person by a household who struggles with different issues
Yeah.
may think that life's passed her by. She's only 25, and she may think that I missed the opportunity to do this or do that, or
Yeah.
it's never too late
Yep.
to learn the lessons from the farm.
Find a dream that's bigger than the obstacles you've got to overcome.
So
So everything has its price.
yes.
Laziness has a price. You
Yes.
become lazier.
Yes.
If you're lazy, the price is you'll become lazier and lazier.
My dad used to tell stories about his most productive years were when he was the busiest. He was in school. He was working full time.
Yeah.
He was working somewhere till on the night shift at some. So he went to pharmacy school in somewhere in Idaho, Idaho State, I think it was, and some job he had. And he would take his lessons, sit down, take a break, and study in between lessons, and got through college that way. But he said, I was never more productive when I was the busiest I've ever been. And he had a wife and probably a couple children by that time. And I thought, he got through pharmacy school, and it's a strange thing. We think that we're so busy. We think that I can't fit that into my life. Yes, you can. You can turn off the television for a couple hours a day.
If you kept a diary with you all week and wrote down all your unproductive time,
Yes.
and then looked at the end of the week, you would be embarrassed
Yes.
of how much time you waste in a day.
And that's how I feel about my life after talking to you. I think my life
Changes.
Oh, my life. Oh, my heaven. I've wasted so much time. But
Well, they say I don't know who said it, it's anonymous, I don't know who, but he said, or she, if you want something done, ask a busy person.
Exactly. It's so counterintuitive. And that's like the gospel sometimes.
Yep.
I don't want to make this too, preacher or whatever, but the gospel is so much that way. It's so much is counterintuitive. Oh, I look at all the time I have to waste going to church every Sunday, or spending these boring classes. Listening to boring talks, and there's so much greater things I could be doing. I could be having all this great fun.
Well, look at President Nelson.
Yes.
What a more perfect example. If you want an example of someone who has resilience, who has all the answers, just look at his life.
Yes.
And in a nutshell, if he said, I'll do it, President Nelson lived the way he's lived, you got it.
Yeah.
Because on his birthday, he went to the church office buildings, had a whole bunch of meetings, and then he had a short meeting with his first counselors and his kids for a birthday gathering at 99. So he said, oh, it's my birthday, I guess we got to stop for that. He's 99, and it wasn't focused on, the whole day is about me.
Yeah,
This is my 99-year birthday, so the whole world come and pay your tribute. It was like he still had his job to do.
Yeah.
And there are many people like that all over the world who are, I think of President Trump, and when he was president,
Yes.
he'd be tweeting at 4 in the morning. Well, now we got our current president who he's awake about 4 hours a day, and Trump slept 4 hours a day. Look at the difference in those two men.
Yeah.
How much respect they have as far as their work ethic.
Yes.
Look what Trump has built.
I would say he was one of the hardest working presidents I've ever seen in my life.
And he donated his own. He didn't take a salary.
Yeah, he didn't take a salary.
And he stopped.
He gets credit for nothing.
Yeah. So, if you want to pick someone to pattern your life, just look at people like that, President Nelson or Trump or other people who've had hardships, returning, servicemen, or women of all ages who've dealt with all kinds of obstacles that should stop them, impede them from.
Right.
But they don't. They just internally something inside them just is a drive. And some people have it and some people don't. If a person doesn't, there's nothing you can do to ignite that flame.
Yeah. It has to come from within. You can't impose it on somebody, force them to. I mean, it's like the gospel of Jesus Christ. There's no room for force. The word force is a word we use to talk about the way Satan gets things done. Free will is the way we have to operate. But along those lines, the other day my wife stumbled on, or I can't remember if it was her or whatever, stumbled on this woman in Japan. She's 94 years old. She has her own YouTube channel, and she trains. She's I guess you call it like not aerobics, but a fitness trainer at 94.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling this is something she started recently, but her videos, Atsuko was telling me that I need to get some exercise. So I said, okay, if she's 94, I should be able to keep up with her.
Yeah.
And these exercises, oh my heavens, and it's just amazing the I don't know, the frame of reference in terms of health in Japan. The frame of reference is so different than here. I mean, we expect to, most Americans expect to live till they're 76 and to be about 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight, and to die from all these things that come from their diet. Diabetes, heart failure, whatever it may be. But here we are in Japan, and I don't know if Dennis's wife is Japanese and he spent some time in Japan, but I don't know if you had much opportunity to watch Japanese television, but almost every program, at least the ones that my wife watched, had to do with health. They are constantly teaching you how to live healthily on most of the programs. There's some strange programs too, but and then they create a quiz program or a quiz show and quiz everybody about it. And but it's like there's this mentality of always trying to stay on top of their health, and I just think it's a different frame of reference. In the States, we're getting a little bit better than when I was a kid, probably. There's more and more healthy people around, but just go to Costco.
On a day like this,
yes.
Look at all these trails, how beautiful they are, and we're the only two people here.
Yeah. That tells you all you need. In Japan, it would probably be full.
Yeah.
In Japan, it would probably be full. You see elderly walking, doing their exercises, and trying to walk in the fashion that they learned on a television pro, and bending their knees this high and doing all these. They have a thirst for education and betterment over there that I just don't see here. I mean, there are elements here, but as a society, it's just, oh man. And how are we doing on time? Can you see that number on my eyes? 52 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we can start thinking about wrapping it up on that way to the car here. Anything, I hope you enjoyed today. If you think it's worth your while, let's do it again.
Okay.
I definitely would say yes. There's a zillion things I'd like you to talk about, and like I said, I've got so few number of viewers that it's more of a try to leave this for my posterity, and maybe hopefully you can get your posterity to look at this and find out about Dennis, learn about Dennis.
Yeah.
But,
learn what not to do.
Yeah. Well, I've already made no. You are all about what to do. I just I was at his house the other day, and I'm telling you, it looks beautiful. But his wife told me he did all the painting of I don't know how many rooms and how high the walls are, and it just keeps going. It's like a ever-ready rabbit. It just keeps. And I think your wife told my wife that she thinks your secret to success is just keep moving, just keep doing, keep your mind involved with things you're working on, and always.
Well, there's two things. One, the largest room in your house is a room of self-improvement.
Right.
So you can always get better.
Right.
And the second thing is bodies in motion seem to
stay in motion,
and bodies who are in motion seem to stay.
Yeah.
And so it's just that I don't know which scientist it was, Einstein or who said that, or who, but that's really life. It boils down to just a few things, and anybody can change their life. Anybody can improve themselves if they just set goals and refuse to give up.
Yeah.
And you're willing to do what failures will refuse to do. So if it takes 6 hours, then you put in 8 hours.
Right.
If it takes whatever it takes, you pay the price for it. And in time, if you live the golden rule,
Yeah.
what you do will be lasting, and you'll feel good about it. Your past.
Yeah.
You'll build stepping stones for people who, what's that? How does it go? Kings and queens and clouds who caper and sawdust rings are common folk like you and me. Each is given a book of rules and a bag of tools. And there he may go, either building stepping stones or stumbling stones.
That's beautiful.
So that's what we do.
That's a good ending. I mean, ending to our video here. I mean, we can keep on talking about it.
Yeah.
But just along those lines, we take care of my daughter's dog and she's living in Japan right now. She happens to be back here for the summer. But that dog had no life and was almost no energy, just laying around, sleeping, doing this and almost totally inactive. And then my daughter came here for the summer. She's been taking him out, changed his diet, takes him on walks every night, and I tell you, he's like coming to life. I'm not all day long, but when she comes back from a walk, he's pulling her on the. I'm sorry, I'm spitting on you.
Yeah.
He's pulling her on the walk, and he comes in the house and he's jumping around. He's finding this new life, and I'm thinking, oh my heavens, that's a good lesson for humans. Stay active, stay busy, eat right, and have somebody show you some attention.
Yeah.
Show you attention, and it's just amazing what happens. So, anyways, any final comments?
No, I've already said it.
All right,
I
the
like
poem
that
was great.
Poem. Yeah, that's the one
All right.
It's a favorite one.
All right. Well, let's do it again. If you
Okay.
if you see this and you think it's worthwhile, you may regret it. But like
See
I said,
ya.
we'll see you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you get as much out of this as I did, and we'll see
Happy
you
trails,
next.
as Roy Rogers said. Happy trails.
Yeah, I've got a couple more of these lined up with different friends, but I definitely want to have Dennis back and hear more of his wisdom. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.